Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the channel. The Batman. We have one analyst's response to what the box office is looking to be. Interesting numbers, which I thought we would take a look at because long range, as well as like opening weekend and short range projections and things like that, are always interesting on the lead up to a release. You also know, I think personally, when a studio is sort of like maybe having, some playing silly buggers a little bit with the analytics of things, and then they drop and change immediately before, and all excuses under the sun come out. But this is going to be an interesting one because I don't think Warner Brothers has inflated anything here. I don't think they're a part of this. This comes to us from Box Office Pro. Long-range box office forecast for The Batman. So, as one of the cornerstones of comic book fandom for almost 83 years, DC Comics' Caped Crusader has been at the center of some of the film industry's most memorable moments and biggest box office impacts throughout the past 4 decades. So they say, 2022's first bona fide tentpole to hit the big screen, The Batman, is poised to join the club and reinvigorate the theatrical market when it debuts just 4 weeks from now. Now, reinvigorate the what? Spider-Man No Way Home? I mean, surely that reinvigorated things, no? Shocking. So here we go, pros. And I'm really looking forward to this film. You guys know I am. But let's be objective about it. So the pros, right? Batman is inarguably one of the most valuable and reliable pop culture icons when it comes to the box office. Evidenced by numerous blockbuster performances across multiple generations of moviegoers, from Tim Burton's 1989 film to Christopher Nolan's early 2000s trilogy and Zack Snyder's BVS Dawn of Justice. Now, it is a hugely recognizable property. Very, very popular, Spider-Man is as well. Spider-Man is one of those properties which is just incredible. They always do well. If you look at all of the Spider-Man films, they've always done really, really well. And so does Batman. Batman just captures people's imaginations. People want to watch Batman. It's a worldwide property. You name comic book superheroes, people go, Batman, Superman. It just is, and that's not being a DC shill. I'm very, very much far from that. But it just is a huge property. Again, same with Spider-Man. Spider-Man, hugely recognizable property. So here we go. The advanced tracking and social activity and trailer imprints for The Batman are the strongest of any release, excluding Spider-Man No Way Home, since before the pandemic began. Preliminary metrics align closely with Captain Marvel, which scored the third highest March opening in history with $153.4 million 3 years ago. Now that is nothing good. I wouldn't say that was hugely positive, quite frankly, comparing it to Captain Marvel. I'm sure you would agree. And there's always the discussion to be had of empty seats and things like that. But would Warner Brothers stoop that low? No, I don't think so. I don't think they need to with this. So more bullish models. Also, just as an FYI, right? $153 million opening, tracking alongside, for the Batman. Do you think the Batman could do that? I think it could. Easily. $153 million. Easily, I think it could. Yeah. Anyway, more bullish models are also generating notable trend lines with Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Sorry. The Rise of Skywalker. Sorry about that. I had to do the voice. Which had $177.4 million in December 2019 and BVS 166. Now I would put it, I would put it on the upper end of that scale. Closer to the $200 million mark. I think that is realistic for this film. And then, of course, Beauty and the Beast, which bested the latter, which was $174.8 million in March. I don't think the month matters anymore. I think we've proven that time and time again. I think it's just a good movie. If a good movie releases, it'll do well. Doesn't matter what month it is. yeah, there are like some differences in terms of like a financial year coming to a close with taxation and things like that. Each quarter coming to a close, and which does change people's budgets somewhat, but it's quite minimal. If you're looking at actual how people take their fiscal responsibilities, their day-to-day budgets, I think that's actually very, very minimal by comparison. In terms of the impact on them going to watch a movie. I think realistically, it's quite literally just a case of, is a good movie releasing this month? Yes, people will go. And there hasn't been a good movie released for a little while in theatres. The majority would view anyway. So I think them now coming out with this movie, I think there's a hunger to go back to the cinema again. Just like there was for Spider-Man No Way Home, right? People wanted to go to the theatre. Again, COVID is not an excuse anymore. Just throw that out the door. People want to get out and do things. And I think this coming in March, I think it will do well. But again, we view, I'm doing this video as a document, so I can historically go back and have a look when it does actually happen. It is released, and we can see how it does. It's always interesting to compare. So anyway, as for the current forecast ranges listed below, it would not be surprising for them to trend upward in the weeks ahead. So they're saying that it's looking likely that it'll do better than those previous aforementioned movies. I think it will do better. I think it will do around the $200 million-ish mark. Maybe. I think so, personally. And I'm probably going to be wrong. So I guess maybe I don't think so, but I don't know, maybe part of me just hopeful that it will. So another rebirth of the timeless comic book juggernaut is coupled with a new leading man in Robert Pattinson, an actor already well established in the minds of both fan followers and indie film communities, thanks to diverse and widely praised earlier career resume. That's actually a con as well as a pro. Like, let's get that. This is me being unbiased, right? Like, I tried to say I'd be as objective as possible. I like Robert Pattinson as a pick, but it's naive and disingenuous and pretty bad faith statement to say that he's absolutely just a pro. There are so many people that think he's garbage for the role, but I do also think that those people are not the majority. Wait, I know if you're one of those people, I'm aware you're probably going to dislike the video based on that statement, but at least I'm acknowledging you know. But if we look at the figures in terms of trailer viewing numbers and the buzz and the overwhelming positive comments, I just feel like the individuals that really have this hatred for Robert Pattinson aren't the majority. I could be wrong, and you're all just mindlessly hate watching the trailer, but I doubt it. I have more faith in you than that, because that's, weird behaviour. So, here's the other pro that they say. With a strong ensemble cast behind a gallery of familiar Batman mythos characters, good, bad, and everything in between, the commercial prospects of this film measure up to the type of A-list talent that has previously helped attract the most casual of Batman and comic book fans for prior cinematic chapters. Now, I think personally, one of the major things which is going to be a problem for this film is just that it's so recent. It's another Batman on top of another Batman. It's just so soon. I think that's going to be the way that this film struggles to attract people to the theatre. More so than anything else, actually. So, they note some other bits and pieces here, saying comic book films have clearly been the most in demand throughout pandemic recovery, and also talks about 2019's Joker being incredibly successful, and also being one of the first films that is released, actually, worldwide, I guess, since the Joker and since Wonder Woman 1984. So it is DC back in theatres, I guess. So yeah. Now they do say that this will notably be DC's first release since Wonder Woman 1984 during the nascent stages of theatrical reopenings. I'm pretty certain they released. I need to check this, but didn't the Suicide Squad release? Wasn't that after Wonder Woman 1984? The Suicide Squad? I think it was. I could be wrong, but pretty certain it was. We also have comments on, young audiences. Men of all ages have been at the heart of rebounding box office. Yeah, it is men that predominantly go to the theatres. That's the demographic. Slow winter box office. Spider-Man No Way Home did a phenomenal run. Again, this is actually noting what I have basically just said, that you've had a pretty slow winter. There was only one film really, and there's not actually that much else coming out, and this is a movie which I think will get people back into the theatres. It's essentially saying exactly what I have just said. They say Matt Reeves as a positive, but he's not. He's a positive with a very small minority of people. There's not that many people who go, "Oh, Matt Reeves, great." The normal audience isn't going to go, "Yeah, Matt Reeves, awesome." They're just not. That's not how normal individuals see movies. They just don't do that. So cons. Now they say that 2 hours 55 minutes. I think it's 2 hours 47 without credits or something like, or 2 hours 45 without credits. This is a long run time, and it will limit showtimes per day. That is absolutely a con. 100%, it will cause a problem, and will cause. It's just a numbers issue, right? If you have to put, you can only put so many screenings on per day. You can only get so much money for a theatrical window. Like, that's just a fact. So it's undoubtedly a con. The runtime will undoubtedly eat into the potential for a box office, but it's dependent on how long they keep it in theatres, into how much damage that could do. They also say, with what appears to be a noir-fueled, gritty take on Gotham City, it remains to be seen how this version of the character and the world around him walk the line between the mainstream appeal of many comic book films versus the psychological nature and more violent aspects that could be off-putting to some parents and or kids. I don't think this is going to be off-putting to parents. I also don't think kids are going to be that put off by it either. I think this film will do pretty well. I don't think the gritty nature of it is that much of a con. I could be wrong, but I don't think so at all. I think I think it would be naive and also disingenuous not to state that if it's too dark and too horror filled, that parents potentially won't take their kids to see it. Right? I think that could be the case. So they say, the reboot of any major franchise or character. Essentially what I said, too soon. A new Batman too soon. And they also say, on a similar note, word of mouth will be crucial. True, yeah, much like it was for, Spider-Man No Way Home. Absolutely. So, this is long-range box office forecast and 22, calendar. So let's take a look, right? They think the Batman, right? Batman, 3-day opening, low-high range. They think the Batman will take between 135, 135 million, and 185 million. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it will go between, and this is my personal opinion, I think it'll go between 150 to 200 million dollars. That's what I think. Now they say domestic total. Low, high range. This is just the domestic, which I think is pretty good actually. What they state here, $340 million to $540 million. I would actually probably agree with that. I think that's pretty decent. I think that would be all right. I think if they get anywhere close to the Joker, if they can coin that audience and get them back in the theatres, that was a movie that did $1 billion without China, right? If they can do that, I think you're in. I think hitting $500 million in domestic long range, I think is definitely feasible, 100% feasible. But it'll be interesting to see how that develops. So that's their take. In fact, they are basically saying that it's going to be the biggest movie of the year so far, up until its release, basically. They don't have anything else past that. So, literally nothing at all. But I'd love to hear what you guys think. Let me know down below in the comments. Do you think this is going to be a big movie or a small film? Do you think it's all hype, no substance? Let me know down below. If you're new here, do hit subscribe. Thank you all so much for watching there, ladies and gentlemen. You can actually hear the Riddler's theme tune. I'll leave it linked down below in the description box. It's good. The music's epic for this film. So anyway, let me know what you think. Cheers, guys. Take care.